That uniform is fake. Guys like you buy these online. Marcus Webb said nothing. He kept his hands visible, his breathing steady, his eyes forward. He had survived 11 deployments. He had operated in places most people couldn't find on a map. He had buried teammates. He knew how to stay calm when everything around him was falling apart. But nothing in his training had prepared him for this, being slammed face first onto a public airport floor, in full Navy dress blues, in front of hundreds of witnesses, by a man with a badge and a bias he didn't bother to hide. And in exactly 12 minutes, the Pentagon would know his name. Officer Dale Briggs had been with the Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson Airport Police for nearly 14 years. Among certain colleagues, he was considered experienced. Among others, he was considered dangerous. Not because of his temper, though that was part of it, but because of his pattern. Complaints had followed him for years. Black travelers stopped for extra questioning. Families pulled aside without cause. Junior officers requesting transfers after shifts with him, saying he escalated too fast and listened too slow. None of it had ever stuck. Supervisors had filed the reports, closed the folders, and moved on. That morning, Briggs stood near Terminal D security, coffee in hand, watching the early crowd move through. His partner, Officer Ryan Kowalski, 32, 5 years on the job, stood slightly behind him. Kowalski rarely challenged Briggs. He followed his lead, laughed at his jokes, and told himself that was just how things worked. Then Briggs saw Marcus Webb. Senior Chief Marcus Webb, 43, walked through the terminal in full Navy dress blues. Garment bag over one shoulder, carry-on in his right hand. His posture was straight, his pace steady. The ribbons on his chest represented 15 years of active duty in naval special warfare, deployments across 3 continents, classified operations, and a service record that most people in that terminal would never come close to. He was traveling on official orders, connecting through Atlanta on his way to a command briefing in Virginia. He had attended a memorial service the day before for a fellow SEAL killed in training. He had stayed in uniform out of respect, and because he was moving directly between commands. He was not looking for trouble. Trouble found him anyway. As Webb passed the coffee kiosk near gate D7, Briggs shifted his stance. "Hey, you in the uniform, stop right there." Webb stopped, turned. "Yes, sir." Briggs stepped closer than necessary, eyes running over the dress blues, the ribbons, the rank insignia. "That your bag?" "Yes, sir." "Put it down." Webb lowered the carry-on slowly. "Is there a problem?" "We'll decide that." Briggs moved closer. "Where are you coming from?" "Charlotte. I'm connecting through here to Norfolk." "You got orders on you?" Webb reached slowly toward his inside jacket pocket. "I have my military ID and my travel orders. Keep your hands where I can see them. Don't get smart." Kowalski moved to Webb's side, blocking his path forward. "Just do what he says," he added, voice flat. Webb kept his hands visible. "I'm complying." Briggs leaned in, lowering his voice. "A lot of people wear uniforms they didn't earn. You fit a description we've been given." "What description?" Webb asked. His jaw tightened slightly. "Don't play games." Briggs's voice dropped further. "You people think a costume gets you a free pass." Webb's expression stayed controlled. "I'm a senior chief petty officer in the United States Navy. You can verify that with my ID." Briggs shook his head. "We'll verify whatever we need to verify. Turn around." "For what reason?" "Because I said so." Kowalski reached for Webb's arm. "Turn around, sir." Webb complied. He placed his hands behind his back, palms open. "I'm not resisting." Briggs pulled one wrist higher than necessary. "You're tense." "I'm standing still." A few travelers slowed. A woman with a stroller stopped moving. A man in a veteran's cap lifted his phone. Briggs leaned toward Kowalski and muttered, "Watch him. These guys snap." Webb heard it. "That's not accurate." Briggs's voice rose. "Don't tell me what's accurate. You don't look like a senior chief. You don't look like you belong in that uniform." Webb turned his head slightly. "You don't get to decide that." That was when Briggs's hand drove hard into Webb's upper back. "Get down!" "I'm not resisting," Webb said, and then his balance broke. Briggs shoved harder. Kowalski hooked Webb's arm and pulled. The momentum carried all three of them forward. Webb's knees hit the tile, then his shoulder, then his face. The sound echoed across the terminal, sharp, loud, unmistakable. Several people gasped. A child started crying. The man in the veteran's cap kept his phone up. "Stop moving," Briggs shouted, planting a knee between Webb's shoulder blades. "I am not moving," Webb said through clenched teeth, one cheek pressed to the cold floor, eyes open, breathing controlled. "You're hurting me." Briggs forced Webb's wrists together and snapped on the handcuffs. "You should have thought about that before you got mouthy." Kowalski looked at the gathering crowd. "Clear out. Keep walking." The man in the veteran's cap spoke up. "That's a Navy uniform. You don't need to be doing all that." Briggs shot him a look. "Sir, mind your business." Webb lay still. His training took over. He stared at the polished floor, aware of the cameras, the phones, and the body cam on Briggs's chest, its red light blinking steadily. As Briggs and Kowalski hauled Webb to his feet and started toward the side corridor, a uniformed airport sergeant stepped directly into their path. Sergeant Dana Pierce had heard the commotion from 50 feet away. "What's going on here?" she asked. Briggs answered first. "Possible impersonation. Subject got aggressive." Webb met her eyes. "Sergeant, I am an active-duty Navy SEAL. I have ID and orders. I did not resist." Pierce looked at the handcuffs, the dress blues, and Briggs's tense grip. "Let me see his identification." Briggs hesitated, just half a second, but it was enough. Pierce checked the military ID. Photo matched. Name read Webb, Marcus J. Rank, Senior Chief Petty Officer. She unfolded the travel orders. Norfolk, official command briefing. Active duty travel. She looked up. "Why is he in cuffs?" "He was being evasive, got an attitude." Webb's voice stayed level. "I answered every question. I asked why I was being stopped. That's when he put hands on me." A man in the crowd called out. "He didn't do anything. We all saw it." Pierce raised her hand. "Enough." She turned to Briggs. "Take the cuffs off. Now." Briggs's jaw tightened. "Sarge, we still need to. I said uncuff him." Pierce keyed her radio. "Chief Sutton, this is Pierce in Terminal D. I have a use of force incident involving an active duty naval senior chief in dress uniform. Body cam rolling. Multiple civilian witnesses. I need you here." A pause. Then Chief Harold Sutton's voice came back. "Repeat that." "Active duty SEAL, on the floor, in cuffs." Another pause, longer this time. "I'm on my way." Briggs exhaled through his nose. "This is getting blown out of proportion." Webb looked at him. "It's being taken seriously. That's the difference." Within minutes of Chief Sutton's arrival, Briggs and Kowalski were pulled off the floor. Radios turned in. Body cams flagged. A secure footage link was sent to Internal Affairs. A second went to the city's legal office. A third, at Sutton's direction, went to a federal liaison number he had never had to use before. 12 minutes after Webb's face hit that floor, phones inside the Pentagon were ringing. NCIS confirmed receipt of the footage. The Department of Defense was notified. The Pentagon's Office of General Counsel was looped in. The case was classified as a potential civil rights violation, an assault on an active-duty Special Operations member. In Washington, a senior official looked at the body cam still, Briggs's knee on Webb's back, dress blues on a terminal floor, and said 4 words. Handle this at every level. Within 1 month, the outcomes were final. Officer Dale Briggs was terminated. Gross misconduct, excessive force, racial discrimination, falsifying elements of his official report. His law enforcement certification was permanently revoked. He was barred from working in any policing role in the state. Officer Ryan Kowalski was fired for failure to intervene and for supporting an unlawful detention. His certification was suspended, effectively ending his career. 2 supervisors who had ignored prior complaints about Briggs were disciplined. 1 forced into early retirement, 1 demoted. The department entered a federal consent agreement requiring mandatory bias training, independent use of force review, and new body cam oversight protocols. Senior Chief Marcus Webb filed a federal civil rights lawsuit. The settlement, reached before trial, was in the millions. But Webb said the money was never the point. In his final statement to federal investigators, he was calm, precise, and direct. I did everything by the book. They didn't. Weeks later, he walked through another airport, again in uniform, again carrying orders. No one stopped him. No one questioned whether he belonged. Back in Atlanta, a training bulletin circulated through the airport police department. It showed a body cam still, a black man in navy dress blues, face on the floor, 2 officers standing over him. Underneath it were 6 words. This is what failure looks like. No names were printed. They didn't need to be. The careers were already gone.